All right, guys. Today is what, Thursday, the 1st of June, and I just want to share my day's venture so far of gaming. Right now it is 5:48 p.m. This is kind of prime time when people post stuff, on OfferUp, Let Go, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, today was interesting. Today was very interesting. Uh, my first hit I had was actually, I was talking to three different people today on OfferUp. One had a bundle of Wii games, loose Wii games. Another had a PS2 Slim with, I don't know, about 10 games or so. They were okay games, nothing to go crazy about. And another guy, he had posted a GameCube system. He posted a Wii system and an old Xbox 360 system. Right? So three systems. So I messaged that guy and I'm like, hey, man, you got any games for these systems? He's like, yeah, I got a bunch of games for these systems. So I sent him an offer of $75, which is what he was asking for. And he accepted it and he told me his address. So anyway, I went on out there. It was about a 20-minute drive. And I got to his house and he opened up the garage for me. We went into his garage. And the first thing I noticed is he had a bunch of like motorcycle stuff. You know what I mean? So he was like, hey, man, here's the games, blah, blah, blah. You could check them out and all this. So, I'm going through the games and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I got this old TV. You can have it too. It was a flat screen TV. It looked okay, whatever. It's still in my car. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But anyway, so, I'm looking at this stuff. And then I want to ask him about other video games, but there's a lead in here. There's a lead in. And the lead in is these motorcycles, these dirt bikes. So I walk over to the dirt bike. I'm like, man, that's a cool dirt bike. It's pretty big. That's a beastie looking dirt bike. I said, you still ride? He's like, well, not so much, but, I used to a lot. And my son rides and blah, blah, blah. And the guy looks like about 45 years old. And so I said, hey, man, I rode a dirt bike once, only once, and I hurt my shoulder. And here's what happened. So I told him the story of, how I got on a dirt bike. I revved it too high, and the freaking dirt bike went up in a wheelie. And instead of like hitting the brake or whatever, I just hit the gas some more, and the dirt bike flew forward, and I fell over on my side, right on my shoulder. And I don't know, I think I torn my rotator cuff or something like that. And that was 20 plus years ago. Never did get it fixed. Still hurts a little bit, but it's no big deal. Anyway, so we bonded over that story. And all the while I'm telling him this story, I'm thinking of, okay, maybe this guy has some games. So I'm like, hey, man, you got any other games? Any games at all? Maybe some older stuff, some Super Nintendo, some GameCube. He's like, well, I got the original Nintendo. I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. Can I check it out? Can you bring it down? He's like, yeah, just give me a second. So he goes upstairs, comes back in about 2-3 minutes, and he's got this little box, about this big. And he's got like the system in there, a few controllers. He's got like 10 games, and they're all pretty decent games. Mike Tyson Punch-Out, I think Metro. He's got, some of the Mario Brothers. It's a pretty decent little bundle, you know what I mean? So I'm at 75 for the other stuff. So I said, hey, how about 100 for everything? And he thought about it. He's like, make it 120 and it's yours. And, I'm in his house, you know what I mean? I'm not his house, but I'm in his garage, you know what I mean? And he showed this stuff to me. He's ran it up. And I know that this whole bundle is worth, that and more. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I paid him his 120. We walked all the stuff to the car. I shook his hand. I gave him my card. I said, hey, if you find more stuff or whatever, just give me a call. Boom, that was that. So I went down the street and I put in the other address that I was going to after this, which was the PlayStation 2 lot. So I went, I drove over to the PlayStation 2 lot, and that was probably about 25 minutes away or so. Blasted over there. Boom, got there. And when I got there, I texted the guy, hey, I'm outside. Went up to the gate, to his gated door, and he met me out there, brought the games out. It was him and his girlfriend, and they seemed pretty cool. So I'm going through the games a little bit, and I asked him, hey, you got anything else? You got anything older? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, we had a bunch of freaking Xbox 360 games. And darted in the house. Boom! She was gone like a little rabbit. She just shot in there. Came back out like 3 minutes later with a big stack. Like I don't know, my camera can't. I don't know, a big stack, right? So maybe about 20 games. So anyway, she put them down there, and I'm looking through the games and stuff, and I'm like, well, what do you want for the game? And he was like, I don't know, $5 a piece. And I didn't even say anything, right? And maybe 5 seconds later, his girlfriend looked at him and was like, those games are old. You had them forever. So I knew that the girlfriend wanted that shit out of the house, wanted it gone. So I looked through the stuff some more. I waited about maybe a minute or two, and I said, I'll tell you what, I give you $40 for everything. It was $25 for the original bundle, the PS2 system Slim, with about 10 games, and then those other 20 games. And he was like, deal, instantly. He said, deal. So I gave them their cash, and I was going to go to the next deal, but they canceled on me. The people with the loose Wii games, they canceled on me. So I took all that stuff. I'm in this stuff for 40 plus 120. That's 160. Okay. So I took all this stuff up to my local game store that I like to deal with. And I sat there and I went through like some of all the loose games. I didn't even bother selling it to them because they never really give me any good money for them. But some of the box games I went through, some of the box games for 360s and stuff like that. So I went through those and I kept a few and I traded all the rest of that stuff in. So they gave me like $225 for that stuff. So I paid $160. They gave me $225, and so I got my $225 plus I got this nice little stack of GameCube games. It's probably 10 there. I got probably 20 Wii games here. I got probably another 5 or 6 games here. Boom, Smash Bros. And then I got probably another 20 games right here in the sleeve. Bunch of games, bunch of 360 games and stuff. So, yeah. So I'm already up, and the rest of that stuff right there is gravy. Now, that would be cool if that was the end of the day. That's not even the end of the day yet. So on my way back home, I looked at OfferUp and I saw like this monster bundle of like game systems. It's like Xbox 360, PlayStation 1, maybe some PlayStation 2, stuff like that, right? And they said, we got games, we got systems, we got all this stuff. So I text them right away. I pull over, text them, I'm like, hey man, how much for all the games? They're like $100. So I'm like, cool, text me your address, right? So they said, hold on a minute, right? And then they didn't get back to me, man. They didn't get back to me. So, I offered them like 120. I'm like, well, maybe they're getting more offers. For sure, they're getting more offers. You know what I mean? when you post something like that, people are going to hit you up, man, like crazy. So they get back to me. So I messaged them on a different post they had. Said, hey, I got to get to work. I used the old. It was what 3:30 at that time. I used the old. Hey, I got to get to work at 5. I got about 40 minutes or so. You know what I mean? Could I swing by right now and come check it out? Put a little squeeze on them. You know what I mean? They finally got to me and they were like, $150 for all the games. So I just said, text me the address. So they text me their address and their phone number and stuff. I didn't even bother to call. I just went straight over there. So, hey, Denise Pickers. So I went over there and it was these two ladies, right? And they're like, come on in the house, right? So I'm coming on in the house. I can hear big ass fans in there, right? Because there's no AC, right? And they're like, I started walking through the house, like through like a corridor and then like over and like through to like a dungeon or something like that. I'm getting kind of scared a little bit, but it's two women. And I'm like, fuck it. If I got to die out here on my savage grind for video games, I'm good with it. Right. So I follow them through this dungeon, into the actual dungeon where all those systems and stuff were. So they had a bunch of systems there. And then when they got there, they said, yeah, most of the games, they're PC games. Now, who doesn't love PC games, right? PC games suck ass. PC games are fucking ass pickles. Nobody wants no goddamn PC games. So I'm like, I came over here for video games. You guys have video games? And they're like, yeah, we got them here somewhere. And they start looking around and this and that and digging through boxes. And I started digging through boxes. And it was getting hotter and hotter in that motherfucking room. So finally, maybe 10, 12 minutes or so, I said, look, when you guys find the games, you can give me a call. I'd love to buy them. But, I got to go. They're like, oh, yeah, that's right. You got to go to work. They told me I got to go to work. I'm at work, motherfucker. I've got to go to work. I'm at work. But I played it off. Yeah, I got to go to work. But I'll leave you my cards and stuff like that. So, I walked out of there, left him my card. And while I was there, though, even though they didn't have video games, they did have some toys and stuff like that. So here's the thing. My boy Liberty Hustle, the guy who beat me to the deal a few days back that I talked about, his niche is toys. His main thing is toys. They had toys there. And they were looking to get rid of stuff. And they were like, hey, if you know anybody that wants to come get all this stuff, please tell them to come over. We need to get rid of this stuff so bad. Now, my boy Liberty Hustle, he beat me to that score. He didn't want to go on the pick with me. He did me a little bit dirty. Not super dirty, but a little bit dirty. I could have called him, gave him the address over there, and had him go and get those toys for nothing. He would have loved those toys and stuff. He could have got that shit for nothing. But you know what? I didn't call him because he didn't want to deal with me before. So now he's going to lose out on this. And, I'm sure he won't cry. He's got other things going on. But that just goes to show you that, when you're in this game and you're in it for a while and you're going to be in it for a while, you don't want to burn no bridges. And he kind of burned a bridge with me when he didn't want to go with me to that pick that we could have went to and shared in that meal. He wanted to eat that meal by himself. And he did. It was a good meal. But, he ain't going to get this meal that I just left. And he ain't going to get, any other meals that I come across that would be good stuff. Because, see, here's the thing. Like, the stuff that I come across is, video game related. And then when I come across, like, games and toys and stuff, I don't really have any interest in that. I don't have the time or patience for that. But a guy like him does. So what I actually did was I told the video game place that I deal with, hey, they got systems there. They got boxed PC games. And they've got, a bunch of stuff you might be interested in there. And they're desperate and willing and able to get rid of that crap. So, go on over there if you want. And, they'd love to see you. Tell them I sent you. You know what I mean? So I gave him that lead. And, he may or may not check it out, but whatever, man. So anyway, that was my day today. It was pretty cool. Made some money. I got some games that I can list. And, it's still early. By the way, it's 115 degrees here. 115 degrees here in Las Vegas right now. It's hot, super duper hot. So, I got air conditioning in my car, but man, it's still hot. Anyway, that was my day. I just want to let you guys know today was a win. You know what I mean? Every day is not going to be a win, but today was, and I'll relish it. Still got a few hours left to do a little hunting, so we'll see if anything else happens. But if it does, I'll share that tomorrow, the next day, or something like that. But anyway, you guys take care, be well, and I'll see you next time. And keep karate jumping. Hey-ya!